welcome to LINEA ROCK, and welcome to Italy virtually, I must say.
Thank you for having me.
Where are you calling from?
I am in Los Angeles, California right now. Sunny Los Angeles.
Wow, fantastic. So you deliver, a heavy, very hungry sound. Mm-hmm. Your influences actually are quite clear, from Slipknot, Marilyn Manson, but also Lamb of God, Pantera, Megadeth, a lot of stuff, heavy metal, and also new metalcore. You are very versatile and very intelligent as well, I must say. But, for those who don't know the band yet, since in Europe you're very famous in America, but you're starting right now here. How would you, present TETRARCH to our listeners and to the European audience? How would you define your style and what makes you unique?
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, with our influences, we've always been a band that we really love heavy music. Like, we're metalheads, but we love heavy music that has like big choruses, like you can sing along to, and like that you can really connect with the lyrics and all of that kind of stuff. So like those bands, like, your Metallicas and your Korns and Slipknots, it's like you can headbang and you can mosh to them, and you can, it's aggressive music, but you can still, that chorus comes in, you can still sing to it, you can still really connect with what they're speaking about. So that's always been like a big part of what we do and what we always want to do. It's what we love. And I think, even in that, it makes us really different, because a lot of bands necessarily nowadays aren't. It's kind of one or the other. Like, it's, a lot of bands are either, at least, especially in America, it's like very, very heavy bands, or very like, not so heavy bands, should I say. So it's like, we kind of fall in the middle. We can do a little bit of both, and it's not weird, because we like to incorporate both elements into our music.
Diamond, you founded TETRARCH. Mm-hmm. So you're the boss in the band, still the boss?
Me and Josh, we're kind of bosses, but we like to hear everybody out. We like to make sure that Ryan and Ruben are very happy as well in everything that's going on. We like to get their opinions always. But you could definitely, you could call us a boss, I guess. I don't know. That's one way to put it.
Diamond, usually the first thing that you notice, when talking about TETRARCH is, everybody says the solo guitarist is amazing, great shredder. What is the most beautiful thing that you have read about yourself, or the best compliment that you received?
I'm always very appreciative of like any compliments, because like when we started TETRARCH, I started it because of the love of music. So it was like, I never even thought it would get like this, you know what I'm saying? But it was really cool in America, becoming the first African-American female metal guitarist in like major publications. So like Guitar World, Guitar Player, Premier Guitar, and all of that in the print magazine and stuff. That was really, really cool to see, because I had never even thought about that when it happened, and someone told me, they were like, you're the first to do this. And I'm like, that's insane, in America, especially. So like, that has to be the biggest general compliment. It's not necessarily like a sentence or something someone said, but just that whole sentiment has been probably like my favorite thing.
So you said that all started from your love for music. Mm-hmm. Let's say you cut your teeth growing, the old way. Extensive touring, heavy rotating on the radios, EPs before the first album. Did it happen like this naturally, or did you plan every step? It's like in this business, you can never know 100%. Like, you can never know. But I think from when me and Josh started playing music when we were 14, we grew up watching like Metallica, Live Ship, Binge and Purge, and all of that kind of stuff, where it was like, we knew we wanted to do that. We wanted to be one of the biggest metal bands in the world. Like, that's always been our goal. So everything we do with that in mind. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're crazy, but we always keep that in mind. Like, so every tour we did, every bit of music we put out and everything, we had that in mind. So nothing was wasted energy. We
we enjoy everything we do. We love everything we do. But it is also something we want to make into a lasting career. So we always keep that in mind and maneuver with that in mind. But we did, however, do it 100% the real way, which I'm very glad of. Like, we started touring around we would play local shows all around Atlanta, Georgia, which is where we're from. And we would play every weekend, every day of the weekend, even if it was at the same venue and no one was there. We didn't care. We just played shows. And then we branched out. We started playing all states all around us. And then we started playing the whole country. So it was an organic growth, 100%. Like, we did everything the hard way, the real way. But now looking back, we couldn't be where we were without that, because it taught us a lot. Like, it taught us a lot about being a band and playing live and being entertainers. So I think it's something kind of you have to do to get to where we want to go eventually. So I definitely think we cut our teeth and did it the real way, but we always knew where we wanted to go, and we still do. So.
Diamond, the first single and video, I'm Not Right, taken from the second, which is the new album, Unstable, which will come out fall 2020. The lyrics describe, the moment, and the video as well, describe the moment when you look in the mirror, not liking maybe what you see, but a sort of embrace, of your defects, accepting yourself first, to become, the best version of yourself, to actually improve, which is, I consider it, a very nice message in a world where everyone wants to excel, and, everyone feels like he is or she is the best in everything. What would you, Diamond, want to change about yourself? And did you compose actually the lyrics of this song?
So Josh and I did it together. Josh did a lot of the lyrics for this song, most of them actually. And, about myself, it's one of those things for me where it's like, I grew up like an overweight kid and stuff like that. And for a long time, it was something that I felt, I was never like really heavily picked on or anything like that. My personality was always so strong that like people would be like, Diamond, she's just Diamond, like, so I was never like picked on or anything like that about it. But it was something that for me, I was always like, like if it wasn't for this, I would think I was like, great, there's no, but, that's something for me. And for a lot of people, that might be something very small. But for me, it was something that, in my head defined me for a very long time. But it's different for everyone. And that's what we tried to talk about in the song. It's like, for someone, it could be something so small. It could be like they have a chipped tooth or something, and that just really, really bothers them. Or it could be somebody who has mental illness, and it's something that every day that brings them down. We wanted it to be able to be something that you could relate to on any level, and I think it's succeeded at that so far. So that's the great part about it. It's like open to interpretation in that regard. It could be anything for anybody. It could be so small. It could be you just broke up with somebody and like you feel horrible about yourself. It could literally be anything. So for me, that's always kind of been like the main thing. But as I've gotten older, it doesn't define me anymore. Obviously I want to become as healthy as I can going forward. But, that's one thing I can think of off the top of my head, other than like, I could be more patient or, like not so uptight, not so stern all the time. But, it's different for everyone. So.
So now, Diamond, we're going to see the video of I'm Not Right, which was directed by Scott Hansen, which is a director you work with very often, and that you say, that is always the best for you. Do you want to introduce it for us?
Yeah. So this is our brand new video, I'm Not Right. We shot it a couple months ago in LA, and I think it came out awesome. So I hope you guys dig it.
Diamond, TETRARCH broke into the metal scene in 2017 with the release of Freak, produced by Dave Otero. And you delivered, intense riffs, violent drums, dark vibe, and a touch, of modern hard rock into your melodies. Freak reached high positions in several charts, especially in America, like the top 50 active rock chart. In the new album, Unstable, which is now planned for next fall and is now ready, I guess, how much of the old school and of, what we heard on the first album is still there, and how much, will be new and even more modern stuff that we will find in it?
So we say it's almost kind of like a continuation of Freak. So with Freak, what we did is that was the first time, like from our previous EPs, that was the first time we tried a lot of things. Like we just kind of stuck our toe in the water and we were like, all right, let's try like these, weird guitar sounds that we've never done before. Let's try like mid-tempo songs, because our EPs used to be like super kind of thrashy and like fast. So we wanted to try a bunch of different things, and we saw that it really worked for us. So with this new album, now it wasn't about being nervous about it anymore. With this new album, we just jumped in head first. So like everything that we might have just touched on Freak, we just went in head first this time, and it sounds really, really good. I mean, we have something on this album for everybody. We have songs that are like more hard rock, but that have like huge choruses and like something you would hear maybe like on the heavier side of like the radio. But we also have songs that are like the heaviest we've ever done. We've never tapped into that heavy of stuff before. So it's a very well-rounded record, but you'll definitely hear more elements of what you heard on Freak, and a lot of like kind of that, what they call, the new metal influence and all of that kind of stuff. And I also think Josh really, he really did a good job vocally on this record. Like it is definitely a record where he has a lot of vocals, a lot of singing parts, a lot of screaming parts, but he did a really good job, and you'll definitely be able to tell that he's matured on this record as well as the band, of course.
As you mentioned before, you moved from Georgia to Los Angeles. What has changed for the band? Why this choice, and how difficult and risky can be, to leave your roots, to go to another city, which is so big, actually, and a lot going on.
So for us, a lot of people, they look at it like, oh, you moved out to LA to like make it. And that wasn't like how we looked at it at all. We had done well building ourselves living in Atlanta, but I think moving to LA was one of those things where it was a convenience thing for us. Like management, like agents, everything we work with, for the most part, they're here or they come here quite frequently. Even small things from like merch printing to everything's just kind of here, and it's very easily accessible. So we got a lot of opportunities being here, just like our relationship we developed with Jose Mangan at XM. It probably wouldn't have happened as quickly as it did without us being here. So a lot of things like that really helped us being here. It's definitely a hard move for, we're all close to our family. We're all close to our parents. And, but having each other and coming out here together made it a lot easier. So we came out here together. We lit, me and Josh still live together. But we, all being here together and coming out at the same time and having the same, struggles and goals and stuff made it very easy for us. So it was a very smooth transition. We also we were always like the outcast of the scene, like wherever we've been, like the local scene in Georgia per se. When we started, it was like we were that band that we always did our own thing. We've always had really big goals, so it's not like we were attached to that aspect. So the hardest thing would be probably just leaving family. But other than that, it's been very smooth. It's been a very smooth and successful transition.
Diamond, from 2007 to 2015, I noticed that you changed, your rhythm section several times. Is it, why that happened? I mean, is it simply happened or not? Actually, you were looking for something special.
Well, Ryan, luckily, our bass player, he's been with us since 2011. So he's been a steady, non-changing member. It was always our drummers. And the reason being was we're a band that there's a lot of people who I feel like might like the idea of being in a band more than being in a band. So for us, it was like finding that person who was willing to sit everything else aside and do the work. And for us, I think a lot of them, and respectfully so, they all, there was no bad blood or anything, but a lot of them just realized that maybe like the commitment that it took to try to go where we're trying to go and what we worked to do was a lot more than they thought than they wanted to give. So that ended up being most of it. A lot of them left because they just weren't, they might not want to tour full time, or they might not want to be away from their significant other or their family all the time, or they might not just want to play music as a career anymore. There was a few things like that, but it was mainly that, just the commitment. We've always been a band, like, we don't go out and party a lot. We don't do much of anything other than band related stuff. And it's kind of been that way since me and Josh started TETRARCH when we were 14. It's like, because we love it. It's what makes us happy. It's what we love to do, but it's also work. So I would say that's probably been it. But when we found Ruben, Ruben's from Venezuela, but he was here in LA, and my friend that I was telling you about, that's actually from Italy, he introduced us to Ruben, and he's been, I know Ruben's the one. He's been here for almost 6 years now, and it couldn't be more of a perfect fit. So it took us getting through those to find the perfect fit, and that was Ruben. So
Diamond, so about What Are You Doing Here? A Black Woman's Life and Liberation in Heavy Metal by Laina Dawe is a book which is about Black women, musicians and fans in metal, hardcore, and punk music. It's about the community spirit and also, the race and gender issues which exist, I might say. A reading that is always topical and has always been, but especially it is in this period. How did you get involved into it? Are you proud of it? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Like how I got involved in the genre or the book?
The book.
Actually, Laina hit me up about, I don't know, that was years back, but I didn't know who she was, but she contacted me and told me about the book that she was writing, and wanted to make me a part. And that was pretty early in our journey, actually. But the fact that I was, playing guitar in a heavier band and stuff was something that started to gain people's attention because it was so new, which is crazy, but it was so new. So she contacted me just to see if I would be interested in being in the book, and she interviewed me a little bit. So that was really cool. That was one of the first times that I was kind of made aware of how different it was. I had heard it, people had talked about it as I was coming up, like, oh, you don't see that, that's different. But I didn't really think much about it. That's Josh. I didn't really think much about it. But that was the first time that I really put a lot of thought into the fact that, oh, this is something that could really stand out. And so that was really cool.
So you told me, you asked, you want to talk about the book or the genre? How did I get into it? So how did you get into it? And is there any musician in particular, maybe a black one or not, whatever, that was like your main influence that got you, into this and into making it as a musician?
So I got into this music, interestingly, when I was in 7th grade. I had a friend. She was a little older than me. You know how you look up to people when they're older than you and you're a kid and you're like, oh, they're so cool. So she actually was into bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and stuff like that. And she used to talk about them all the time. And I would be like, I finally was like, I just need to check out these bands and see what they sound like. And I actually really dug Nirvana when I started listening to them. So that kind of snowballed into me learning about more rock bands. I got into Linkin Park and System of a Down, and slowly got heavier and heavier. I tell people all the time, I'm not the type of person that's a bystander. So when I get into something, I want to do it. When I started getting into motocross riding, I told my parents I want a dirt bike, I want to ride. And when I started getting, I'm not a bystander. I want to be in it. So it was the same with a band. when I got into that music, I was like, okay, I want to play guitar. I want to be involved in this. And I literally didn't put the guitar down ever. But so I love that. But it was interesting I've always been kind of a tomboy. So I'd never looked at myself any differently than I looked at like Slash or Kirk Hammett or Mark Morton or any of my Dave Mustaine, nothing. I just wanted to, sorry, there's a plane going over. I just wanted to be just like them. You know, I wanted to play like the guys. I wanted to be as good, if not better. And so those were my influences. Like the same influences that all your guy players would have, those were my influences as well. So I used to be like kind of ashamed of it. People would ask me like, do you have any female influencers or you know, African-American female influences? And I'd be like, no, you know, but now I know it's like, it's not bad. It's just like, I didn't look at it like that. You know, I looked at it like, hey, I love this instrument and these are the guys that produce the music that I love. So it was definitely like your James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett and Slash and Dimebag Darrell. And like, those were my favorite guitar players. So that's what I learned from.
Okay, so Diamond, thanks very much for your time and for this interview. So now we're gonna close, you know, this chat with one of your songs. We got ready, Freak or Oddity. What do you prefer to play?
I'd say let's do Freak. That's been that song did amazing things for us. So we'll do that one.
Thanks, Diamond, for your time. Ciao.
Thank you so much. Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, grazie.
Tetrarch.